Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. This week in the Royal Corner, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, firebun them with the viral video of her and Harry dancing in the Labour ward, trying to induce Princess Lilibet on her 4th birthday. Also in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, gets 25 million views on her Instagram boogie woogie in the maternity ward with Harry. Also, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, gains 300,000 followers and sends the derangers spiraling. We also have King Charles the Bitter holding up the children's passports, Archie and Lilibet, as revealed by UK press reports this week, as Harry considers changing his name to Spencer as a consequence of King Charles the Bitter's behaviour. And there's more, darlings. The green-eyed king in waiting, El Presidente Sir Leech a lot, draws for the stand-in, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, at the Royal Cornwall show in Weybridge. Where was my girl, Duchess Doolittle? The indolent queen, Sloth Katie in waiting. Did she have a headache on that day? Or was she on another holiday? Come to the show, let's discuss. And finally, darlings, there's also Sycophant of the Week. All this and more on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. Before I jump into the show, I wish to say thank you very much to all of my listeners and subscribers. As I told you before, I'm trying to get to 1,500 subscribers, 2,000 subscribers, 5, 10 and 20,000 subscribers, and then into the stratosphere, darlings. And that's working beautifully, with your help, of course. I now have 1,478 subscribers. I'm nearly at 1,500 people. So keep on liking, sharing and commenting. And as I told you last week, I have now become a YouTube partner. And this week, I don't know how people feel about this, but I got 2 donations. So I want to say a big special shout out to Dawn Robinson. I hope you don't mind me saying thank you publicly, Dawn. I really appreciate your support. And also to Tiger Mommy. I hope you don't mind me giving you a shout out, Tiger Mommy. It was so lovely to see that I got $4.99. How cool is that? So thank you. Those are the first 2 people who've ever donated on my channel. And I always say you can buy me wings and chips and a Miranda. Or you might want to sponsor a whole full-scale meal at my local Caribbean shop, rice, chicken, oxtail, saltfish, dumplings, festival, the whole works. Or something from your country that you'd like me to eat, the whole set of it. I'd love to do that on your behalf. Thank you so much. Now that we've done the preamble, oh gosh, what did I say? Yeah, go over to my website, which is deniseheadley.com, and you can make a donation there as well. Oh my gosh, that preamble took ages. Now that we've done all of that, darlings, let's jump straight into the show, shall we? Right. So, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, firebun them with the viral video of her and Harry dancing in the Labour ward, trying to induce Princess Lilibet on her 4th birthday 4 years ago. And the Duchess dropped this video in addition to some other pictures, and we're going to talk about those also. But I just love that bit. Firebun them. Bun them with fire. Every time. It was beautiful. The derangers were deranged. So on the 4th of June, the Duchess of Sussex celebrated her and Prince Harry and Lilibet's 4th birthday. And what she did was she shared some beautiful pictures, mainly black and white ones, and they were tributes also to Lily on Instagram. They were beautiful black and white pictures of her and Lily, and the first one was when she was born, and the second one of what she looks like now with her face quite obscured, thankfully. And then she also posted a picture of her and Lily and Harry's cradling and looking at Lily. And then there's another one with him hand in hand walking with her in an open space. You know, really beautiful shots. They had some very nice captions, such as happy birthday to our beautiful girl. And remember when they posted the picture of Archie, they said, our son, our son. So, you know, all that kind of nice, warm family images. And you had some people, as usual, you know, the bitterati machine, saying that she's trying to monetize her children. And she's effectively trying to prostitute them so she can continue with her grift. The usual kind of gutter snipe press coverage that you get when anything relates to the Sussexes. But what happened as a consequence of that also was she also released a video of herself and Harry dancing in the labour ward, trying to induce Lily to come because the child was effectively overdue. And we're gonna chew all over that at a later point because that's part of my critique of Sycophant of the week. But I'm just gonna focus on the good news about it. The good news about that video was that it was posted, I think, on the 4th or the 5th of June, and it's had almost 25 million views, which is absolutely phenomenal for any creator of any standing. The fact that there's so much interest in the couple and so much interest in their ordinary experience that people wish to participate and share in is a testament to the couple's influence and their reach, people. Don't forget what we talked about, media interest value. Please, these numbers do not lie. The evidence and the receipts do not lie. The Duchess of Sussex also got, in this period, 300,000 followers on her Instagram account. So I think she went from 3 million to 3.3 million in the space of, 96 hours. And the derangers went they just were liquefied with contempt, bitterness and jealousy. They turned into a blob of bemoaners, a contemptuous gaggle of gawkers, vultures and parasites, policing the behaviours of black women in public. And they spewed their bile in egregious amounts just because the Duchess released a video of her and Harry dancing in the maternity ward. Aside from that, darlings, it was an absolute joy to see the Duchess and Harry trying to induce Princess Lilibet to come into the world. I was very impressed when Meghan started to do a little bit of a whine and she started moving around and moving her hips. I was thinking to myself, go on, girl. I had to say to Mummy, that was a big money whine. I was laughing to myself and I said, Mum, all Meghan needs is that tune. 10 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar, 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 dollar. Yes, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. Anyway, it was a good news story. The couple was happy and Princess Lilibet did arrive healthy and she's strong, and happy birthday to you. Also in the Headley Highlight Show's Raw Corner, King Charles the Bitter, and doesn't it show on your face because you're too bad mind? Yes, you, King Charles. Apparently, he was holding up Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet's UK passports. Why, you may ask? Well, because they are the first legal documents that were going to have the children's titles on them. And that was revealed in the UK press this week, in addition to the conversation that Prince Harry was considering changing his name to Spencer. Now, what that story did not tell you was that the only reason he was considering changing his name to Spencer was because he was having difficulty getting the children's passports. And before you jump up in the comments and say to me that Lily was born in America, they wanted the children to have dual citizenship. So that was the reason why they replied, Prince Archie was born in this country, so he can be a dual national. However, Princess Lilibet was not born in this country and therefore has to apply for dual citizenship. Now, I came across this story via this creator. It's called Real Show 787 and they're on TikTok. Just hear what they've got to say.
Charles stole Harry and Meghan's kids' passports over HRH titles? In a royal drama that's straight out of a Shakespearean play, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are said to have feared that King Charles himself delayed their children's passport applications, all because of those HRH titles. The couple, still smarting from their rift with the firm, believed the king might be using every trick in the royal playbook to keep them in check. Sources close to the Sussexes claim that Harry was so fed up with the standoff that he even considered using the Spencer surname, a name tied to his late mother, Princess Diana, just to move things along. Talk about a royal tug of war. It's another chapter in the never-ending saga of titles, protocol, and family drama that has gripped the monarchy and the world. And with a photograph of young Princess Lilibet surfacing to mark her 4th birthday, the stakes feel higher than ever. Will the king respond to these claims? Or will this be just another story that fades into the royal mist?
After a little more digging, I came across this article in Vanity Fair. And it cites The Guardian, but I'm not paying to get through The Guardian's paywall because it's a rag. And it pretends to be a liberal newspaper whilst bashing the Sussexes and softly massaging right-wing policy agendas through the columns. So in this article, it said, according to The Guardian, the Sussexes applied for the British passports for their children and they were delayed. The couple had to send a lawyer's letter expressing a desire for a freedom of information request. It's basically an FOI, so that they could find out what the reason for the delay was. The clear reluctance to issue the passports was due to the fact that they would be the first legal document to carry the titles, the princess and princess's titles of HRH. Because a passport is a legally identifiable document. Richard Eden of the Mail on Sunday broke the story that they were considering changing their names, but of course he didn't give you the background because that's not his function. He's part of the Bitterati. And Harry considered changing the name to move matters forward, but he knew that was going to be difficult. And it wasn't as a snub to the family. It was because his father, King Bitter III, effectively was holding up the children's passport. What kind of grandfather is that? One riddled with bitterness and other chemicals. I'm sure, as you can see on his face, he's not looking too well. My mum's so going to tell me off for that last one there. But it's true. When your mind is bad, it shows on your face, doesn't it? And let's face it, he's not looking great. Right. So according to that article, I think it's very true. I think the king was integral in holding up the children's passports. And as far as I'm concerned, he qualifies for King Bitterati this week and probably up until the end of his reign. Also in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, King Charles and the Side Salad Queen on the 5th of June attend ecumenical, is that how you say that word? Ecumenical service at the Queen Chapel in London to commemorate the 400th anniversary of its completion. And the only people who were attended were those people invited to sing and hold their coattails because there was no media coverage and not a single person was there. The barriers were there, but nobody else was. So you know what I'm saying? There was more barriers than people at that event. It was basically a no-show. And this is one of the other reasons why I thought this week was fabulous, darlings. Why? Because nobody was interested in anything the firm was doing because the video was getting 25 million views. And the Duchess was gaining 300,000 new followers. And the Side Salad Queen or the Indolent Queen do not even know what a dollar wine is or how to even begin one. Zero media interest. The reason I thought I'd bring that to you is because there was absolutely nobody that attended that event, right? And as far as I'm concerned, half the time when the firm goes out to these events, those people who are lining the streets, they're paid extras. Yeah, this is a theatre, people. You need to have all of the components for the theatre. You need the actors and you also need the gallery. So they often, in my opinion, employ the gallery. So there was nobody there because people aren't interested in this stuff. And because the Duchess and Harry dropped the video, that was all people were talking about all week. So you had King Charles the Bitter at heart walking around with the Plan B Queen. And because there were no guests, they decided now to do what do you want to call it? A spontaneous stop somewhere in a London street. And never guess what? They had to draw for the minorities. Yes, people, the minorities and the less than represented people were suddenly in abundance. In fact, they were singing black people. Yes, singing black people, serenading the king. How colonial. Shall we dive into it, darlings? Why not? Oh, let me bring you the article. People magazine writes Greta Bjornson scribes this wonderful little ditty. Meghan Markle, not the Duchess of Sussex, of course, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's wedding serenade King Charles as new details emerge on family rift. I think I might put Greta Bjornson up for Sycophant of the Week, just for that title alone. And the important thing about this is the proximity to the Sussexes that the king needs to have any media interest value whatsoever. In hindsight, yes, I think I'm going to offer Greta Bjornson a seat at the table this week. Do come in, Greta, darling. You are here for Sycophant of the Week. There'll be others later. So, Greta Bjornson writes, King Charles was treated to a rare performance by the very same group that sang at the Duchess and Harry's wedding in 2018. How marvellous, the king is surrounded by singing black people. Fabulous, darling. While visiting London's 6th SXSW festival on Thursday, this was after he'd been to the church and nobody was there apart from the extras and the hired help. The monarch was serenaded by the Kingdom Choir. The group performed from the West End of St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle when the Duchess and the Prince tied the knot 7 years ago. And People magazine treat us to a fabulous picture. I'm unsure if that's a smile or a grimace. There's no physical touching, of course. Just rather strained smiles with the king. Greta Bjornson then continues to peddle the narrative of tension. This moment comes amid fresh reports of family tension. Harry and Meghan considered changing their children's surnames to Spencer. No context, of course, just a statement slapped in your face for you to think that the couple are trying to once again do something awful to the family. She goes on to write that trust remains the biggest barrier to the reunion. Insiders, who are they, say neither King Charles or Prince William are ready to bridge the divide. She goes on to quote a source saying that the underlying issue is trust. According to biographer Sally Bedell-Smith, who the hell is she, at People magazine, the King and William do not trust Harry and Meghan with any kind of confidential conversation. So also they're terrible, but with also have loose lips, which often sink ships. The article is once again a scratching, bashing article, parading as news, but underlying feeding the narrative of division. And for that, Greta Bjorn earns herself a place in this week's contenders for Sycophant of the Week. Thank you, Greta. Take a bow. Please don't write anything again. For all our sakes. Also in the Headley Highlights show's Royal Corner, darlings. The green-eyed king in waiting, El Presidente Sir Leechelot, draws for the stand-in, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, at the Royal Cornwall Show in Wadebridge. So where is Duchess Doolittle, the indolent queen, sloth Katie in waiting? Are you unavailable? Do you have a headache? Are you in recovery or on another holiday? Or could you be hugging a tree in the woodland undergrowth as you confer with nature in your newfound role of woodland nymph, queen of the scouts, patron of the undergrowth? Stop it now and get to the point, Denise. Okay. So basically, yeah, the green-eyed king and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, were working on a joint engagement, and Kate, Duchess Doolittle, was absent. The way this was pitched to you was on the grounds of shared patronage, because both of the royals are eating from the public purse and they serve as patrons of the Royal Cornwall Agricultural Association. And at what point did Duchess Sophie of Edinburgh need to come as a stand-in for the indolent queen? And are we going to be seeing more of that? Because I don't know if you noticed this week, we saw Princess Andrew's children, I think it's Eugenie and Beatrice. They were on the front of Vogue saying, oh, we're going to be taking on much more royal duties. What royal duties? This thing is a grift, people. Yeah, it's ceremonies, ribbon cutting and eating free food, living in free houses and getting money. Yeah, so who doesn't want that job? Can I apply? And in addition to that, given what their dad was doing and who his friends were, Mr. Epstein, that should rule out Beatrice and Eugenie from any public-facing activities, in my opinion. Also in the Headley Highlight Show's Real Corner, I wanted to examine this whole issue about the Meghan video and the video that she dropped and the media response to it. And there are a few things that I just want to chew over with you. You can give me your thoughts in the comments. And part of this now is also going to be my sycophant of the week, because this week, the biggest sycophant I came across was Judith Woods of The Telegraph. And I have nicknamed her, along with Camilla Tominey, Elizabeth Oak, her, yeah, Angela Levin, Piers Morgan, all of these people, minus the men, because they can't be. We got other names for them. They are Karens with columns, Karens who tweet, or Karens with platforms. And their only job, the majority of the Karens with a platform are of a particular age, race, and media and social standing. They're usually whitey women over 40 with a media presence coming from the middle class echelons of society. The men are just upholders of white supremacy. But the women who engage in this constant dragging of the Sussexes, especially Meghan, she is their target. And I'm going to talk to you all about that right now. And before I jump into that, yes, I know I haven't had a long intro. I want to see the hashtag Karen with a platform trending. Karen with a column trending. Karens who tweet trending. And if you can do that for me, darlings, it will be fabulous. So let me jump into the reason I've come with this exceptional large preamble. It's because of this week's sycophant of the week, Judith Woods. Now, Judith Woods is not alone in the way that she critiques the video that Meghan dropped on Instagram. She wrote an article, and she's in the field of people who write articles who are gatekeepers of whiteness. They police what's dignified. They are misogynoirist, and they deploy gendered racism under the guise of concerned critique. They are classist clowns who effectively mock Meghan's behavior while pretending that royal decorum in itself is not a farce. And they are patriarchy's handy women, handmaidens, using their platforms to uphold white supremacy while pretending to speak for female propriety. They are often Karens with columns, and I want to see that trending. So this particular Karen with a column, Judith Woods, writes, "You can't call yourself a duchess then broadcast that video to the world." So her opening title and gambit is that Meghan doesn't belong because her behaviours don't warrant her being in the royal space. She uses her article to critique Meghan in a number of ways. She uses racialized respectability politics as she positions herself as a white upper middle class British woman critiquing the behavior of a black woman from a seat of racial and class privilege. She reproduces the old colonial patriarchal dynamics of taste, decorum, and dignity. Once again, we have YT women policing black women's bodies. She uses the term slut dropping in her article and refers to the Duchess as a manique, basically a stand-in, a failed duchess, in her attempt to strip her of her royal legitimacy, implying that she really was never one of them. She uses pathology as a way to describe the cultural expression that Meghan dancing in the room to the anthem has. In the end of her article, because the line has a sentence about the baby mama trying to get money for Pampers and also for her living situation, she then says that the Duchess is doing exactly the same thing. So she's trying to link the Duchess's behaviour to poverty, when in fact, that's so very far from the truth. She also tries to police the visibility of black women and how those black women should be visible in a public space, and the way in which they should express their joy, their sexuality, because she is here to confer what is right and proper in that space. She makes reference in her article, her life is one endless search for media content. She uses Meghan's behavior as a source to say that she's constantly trying to be in the public eye and she is an exhibitionist and a narcissist, implying that she is always trying too hard to reach beyond her designated lane. She finally writes, "Thank the Lord the late Queen was not alive to witness it." So she then tries to paint the Duchess's behaviour as some kind of transgression, corrupting the sacred British tradition. She centres her white dignity as the thing to which Meghan should aspire, the Duchess of Sussex. She writes, "The thing about dignity is that it's very difficult to define, but you sure as heck recognise its absence." She equates dignity to whiteness. And even though she says she was welcomed and into the firm, she uses historical revisionism to expel the racism and isolation that was experienced by the Duchess and also perpetrated against her by the British press because they ran them out of this country, them and the establishment. Judith Woods doesn't take any of this into consideration, of course. She's too busy being a beneficiary of white supremacy and a moral guardian of the civilized white woman aesthetic, pointing out the lack of decorum, focusing on the idolized femininity and pureness, modestness and restrainedness of whiteness and white femininity against the raunchy and vulgar and undignified, hypersexualized and shamed behavior of black women. And for that, Miss Woods, you get Sycophant of the Week. To Judith Woods, Sycophant of the Week, and the Telegraph newspaper. Take a seat and a bow. Oh my God, this has gone on so long this week. Right, we had bare news, and I'm just going to do a quick summary, darlings. Right, darlings, right, darlings, right. Right. So Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, bonfire upon them when she just dropped that video and tore up the internet and just basically mashed it up. She got 300,000 new followers and 25 million views on her Instagram. Well done to the Sussexes. We had King Charles, the vengeful king, and his Plan B queen at the ecumenical service in London, and nobody turned up. It was just them and the barriers and the paid staff who were press scanned into smiling. Then the king went to visit people in London because they had lots of extras drafted in for that particular photo op. And he drew for the minorities and he had singing black people around him. Always a good photo opportunity to show that they're not racist. I forgot to mention that the king in waiting also went to a ceremonial military event. That was on the 4th of June. It was in his capacity as Colonel-in-Chief of the Army of Air Corps, and he conducted his inaugural engagement at Watersham Air Base in Suffolk, which got zero coverage because Meghan was tearing up the internet with the baby mama video. And I forgot to mention that Waity Katie had an article about how she's going to rule with a rod of iron as the new queen. Please. That was in Hello magazine. The only thing my girl's planning on ruling is she can stay not doing nothing for the next 30 summers. Yes, there was more, darlings. Oh yes, we had Sycophants of the Week, Greta Bjornson of People magazine, and Judith Woods of the Telegraph. Both terrible articles, both terrible writing. I forgot to say that Judith Woods qualifies not only for Sycophant of the Week, she gets Sycophant of the Month. She exceeds Rihanna Mills last week with her Quiet Disruptor foolishness article that she put out for Sky News. No, this week, Judith Woods is Sycophant of the Month. You've earned it, Judith. Take a seat and a bow. This is for you, Judith. Sycophant of the Month. Well done. Wear it with pride. And I think that's it, guys. Oh yeah, there was the stand-ins. body doubles that are being drawn in so that the show can stay on the road. Sophie in Edinburgh and Eugenie and Beatrice. More hangers on, more leeches, more drinkers from the public purse. And I hope you enjoyed it. Come back next week. Make a donation at denisehedley.com, or you can press the like button, or you can make a donation directly on the channel. I am trying this week to get to 1,500 subscribers. Can you help? Don't forget about the live show every Friday on X. And the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner is a feature of my Friday night political talk show about news, views and conversation, hosted by me, Denise Headley. Thank you for your listening ears. Good night, darlings. See you next week. Right. And cut. Cut, darlings, cut.